Live from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's favorite gun-toting, Bible-clinging, deplorable American.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Todd Starnes radio program. What an honor to have you with us today, and it is great to be back with you. Thank you to Andy Hoosier for filling in yesterday. I was on my way back from Dallas, and honestly, as a result of all the chaos with the airlines, I ended up having to drive, and it's about a 6.5 hour, 7-hour drive from Dallas to Memphis. So anyway, really appreciate the great work of Andy Hoosier from our affiliate in Wichita, Kansas, KQAM, the Big Talker, handling duties behind the big, beautiful, huge microphone. So first and foremost today, it's about veterans, and we just want to take a moment and honor those who have served this country, those who wear or have worn the uniform of this nation. And in all honesty, we would not be here doing what we are doing had it not been for your sacrifice, standing on foreign soil, standing along our border, defending the homeland, defending freedom. And we wouldn't be able to do what we do without you and the sacrifice that you make. And I understand it is an intense sacrifice what you do. And so today on the program, we're going to do things a little, just a smidge different today. But we want to honor all of you veterans out there. So if you have served, maybe you have family members who served, and you want to honor them, you want to give them a shout out, we're going to let you do that today. We would be honored for you to do that on today's program. And I want you to write down our telephone number, and we will work in those phone calls throughout the show. 901-260-5926. Again, our telephone number, 901-260-5926. And we just want to say thank you. You know, I come from a long line of military veterans. I was not able to serve because of the bum ticker, but my dad was in the Air Force. My uncle, my great-uncle Jerry, was in the Coast Guard. My grandfather flew glider planes during World War II. And I had a number of great-uncles who served in the military during World War II and the Korean War. My grandmother had 5 brothers. My grandmother, the sweet Meemaw Starnes, but her civilian name, that's her Meemaw name, her grandmother name, Meemaw. Her civilian name, Lucille Bolin, was her maiden name. And the Bolin boys from South Carolina, the Travelers Rest area, those of you in the Greenville area, you know exactly where that is, a beautiful little town. And Travelers Rest is where our family hails from. And 5 of my grandmother's brothers all served during World War II in some various capacity. And they all survived. They all came back home from the war. And I'm honored to tell you about my family. And our family has a rich heritage and legacy of service to the military. My uncle Chico, who went on to great football fame in South Carolina, played ball at Furman University, and he served in the Marines. And Uncle Chico, his real name was Dean, but he wore these loud Hawaiian shirts all the time, and so they nicknamed him Chico. And Uncle Chico was a fierce guy and fearless. And he was on Iwo Jima and got shot up. His legs were hit with a lot of shrapnel, but he came back from the war. He recovered, and he went on to play ball at Furman University. He went on to play basketball at Furman as well. When he graduated, he started a teacher. He was a teacher, and they called him in at Travelers Rest High School, and they told Uncle Chico, they said, Chico, we need you to start a football program. Would you be willing to start a football program? And this was like right after the war, I guess the end of the 1940s. And Uncle Chico said, sure, but there's one caveat. And they said, well, what's that? He said, you got to let me run that football program like a Marine Corps boot camp. And by golly, he did. As a matter of fact, it was Uncle Chico who gave the football team there at Travelers Rest their nickname. And to this day, they are called the Travelers Rest Devil Dogs. That little bulldog is the mascot. And gosh, I forget, it was about 15 or 20 years ago, they honored Uncle Chico by renaming the stadium in his honor, the Chico Boland Stadium. So Uncle Chico is, and he's also one of the winningest coaches in South Carolina high school football history, and he's in the South Carolina Sports Hall of Fame. Uncle Chico is the most famous person in our family. And we loved Uncle Chico. He was a deacon at the First Baptist Church in Travelers Rest, and many, many young men played ball for Uncle Chico. And let me tell you something. He ran that football program like it was a Marine Corps boot camp. And it was something to behold. He would be fired. If he was a coach today, he would be fired. But he was an old school guy, and just a lovable, he loved us to death. But man, when he was coaching football, it didn't matter if you were related to him. He was putting you through the ropes and through the ringer. Well, Uncle Chico passed away a couple of years back, and Uncle Chico, at his funeral, there at the First Baptist Church of Travelers Rest, it's not all that large, but over 2,000 men and young men showed up who played football, Uncle Chico, and what a tribute that was to his life and his legacy. But everything he learned about life, he learned in the Marine Corps. You know, as a journalist, the very first story I ever wrote, and it's really funny how you remember those first things in your life, but the very first story I wrote was an essay about my other uncle, who was Uncle Chico's brother, and that was my Uncle Bunny. We had weird names in our family. It's just a thing. My great-grandfather, J.W.D. Boland, the D stood for Daisy. We don't like to talk about that. But Uncle Bunny was something of a playboy back in the day, and he was a pilot. And he was on one of the big bombers that were conducting the raids over Schweinfurt, Germany. And Uncle Bunny was serving, I don't believe he was flying that day. I think he was serving as navigator. And his plane was shot down. And he was fortunate he was able to jump out of the plane. And he was captured. He landed in this giant field, and he found himself surrounded by German farmers. Well, it turns out that the farmers who captured Uncle Bunny, it turns out that their son was being held as a prisoner of war in an American POW camp. And so they treated, and their son was being treated very well by the Americans. And so they treated Uncle Bunny very well until the Germans came to pick him up, and they took him to a POW camp. And it was a pretty awful thing. But Uncle Bunny was, it was interesting. He enlisted in the Army Air Corps at the age of 18 years old and got his officer's commission and his pilot's wings on May 23rd, 1943 in Lubbock, Texas. Any of you guys know where Lubbock, Texas is? And he was assigned to the 364th Squadron of the 305th Bombardment Group, 8th Air Force, based in England. And, of course, his final mission, October 14th, 1943. And that's when they were conducting a daylight bombing raid over Schweinfurt. He was held as a POW for 18 months, but he was liberated by General George Patton and the Third Army. As they were making their way, they were sweeping across Germany on their way to Berlin. And Uncle Bunny was awarded the Bronze Air Medal and a Purple Heart, and he struggled really the rest of his life with the injuries that he sustained in that crash. But he went on to have a very long career at Delta Airlines, and he was promoted to flight control operations, and he worked for Delta for something like 40 years. The very first interview Uncle Bunny ever gave about all of this was to his great-nephew, Todd Starnes. That was the very first story I ever wrote. And when he was shot down over Germany, my family got a letter notifying them that Uncle Bunny had been captured. And I actually have that. To this day, I have that letter. I have that correspondence, and it is something that just means the world to me. And so that's just a little bit about my family and some of the great heroes. And all of our families, we have those kinds of heroes in our midst, and we have to honor them. We have to celebrate them and honor their memory. And Uncle Bunny on that B-17 Lazy Baby. My Uncle Gene, who served in the Korean War. Just a remarkable thing. Uncle Gene, by the way, that's the youngest of the brothers. It's a great story. He went to Georgia Tech, and he wanted to fly fighter jets. This is back in the early 1950s. And the Air Force had just started. And Uncle Gene was part of the first class of air cadets to train in these jets. He got his wings at Williams Air Force Base in Arizona. And so you know how they celebrated? This is great. They celebrated, he and a buddy decided to fly their T-33 jets inverted through the Grand Canyon. This is great. Only Uncle Gene got caught, and he was immediately tossed out of the Air Force. I mean, he had just joined. It's brand new, and I think he may have the status of being the first person thrown out of the United States Air Force by Uncle Gene. So then he goes to Georgia Tech. He really wanted to fly jets. And so Uncle Gene's, my great-grandfather and all the Bolin brothers that served in the war, they got a meeting with South Carolina's governor, a guy by the name of Strom Thurmond, and they discussed Uncle Gene's situation. And a few weeks later, Uncle Gene was welcomed back into the Air Force, but his very first assignment was a 2-year probation in Newfoundland, Canada, flying de Havilland beavers and monitoring large herds of caribou. That was his punishment. And then Uncle Gene went on to become the first test pilot for the Boeing 757 jets, and lived for the rest of his life out in Tacoma and worked for Boeing in Seattle. What a great legacy. So anyway, I appreciate you letting me share a little bit about my family history, and I'd love to hear about yours as well, because the great thing about America is we have an all-volunteer military. Men and women from all walks of life, whether you're from New York City or from a farm in Waterloo, Iowa, we all serve together. You put on the uniform, and every single one of you in my book is a hero. All right, our telephone number, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. One final note about my Uncle Gene. For a long time, whenever a nation or a wealthy person would buy a 747, they would send Uncle Gene to be their pilot. So for the longest time, Uncle Gene was the private pilot for the Sultan of Brunei, and he was also the pilot for the King of Jordan and another guy, and he actually was one of the first people to teach him how to fly. That would have been Aristotle Onassis and JFK Jr. So a little bit of history from the Stearns family. Got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Honest and true. Todd Starnes.
In a world where our values are under fire, it's time to stand strong. That's why you should know about Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank is a bank that stands for faith, family, and freedom. A bank that won't cave to cancel culture. Your money, your values. So if you're tired of banks that won't stand up for your values, it's time to switch to Old Glory Bank. Head on over to oldglorybank.com/Starnes and make the change today.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, Macy McLean, with Devon Franklin and William H. Macy.
If you focus exactly on loving the life that you're living right now, and not the life that you think you could have had or should have had, that's the whole deal right there.
Soul on Fire, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing. For tickets, go to soulonfiremovie.com.
Hi, this is Todd Stearns. I realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that's Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile's been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff. Like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
And welcome back to the Todd Stearns Show on this Veterans Day edition. And we're going to be honoring your relatives who served in the military. Give us a call, 901-260-5926. That's 901-260-5926. Well, from Anchorage, Alaska comes this disturbing story. The school district there in Anchorage apparently has a problem with the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. So a young lady had gotten a copy of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and there was a disclaimer slapped onto the documents. And the disclaimer said, the Anchorage School District does not endorse these materials or the viewpoint expressed in them. This is insane. Who in their right mind would slap a disclaimer on our founding documents? And by the way, we've got photos of it. You can see it for yourself at toddstearns.com. So anyway, the student alerted her mom, and of course, mom posted the images on social media, and now we're talking about it here on the radio. Now, the Alaska Attorney General is a guy by the name of Stephen Cox, and he said this is all very disturbing, deeply disturbing. He said public officers have to uphold and defend the Constitution. I took such an oath on my first day. He goes on to say that Alaska law requires school board members to sign and swear to support and defend the U.S. Constitution. So my question is, what about the teachers? And who was responsible for putting the disclaimer on our founding documents? Now, the school district has yet to weigh in on the controversy, but it just seems to me, everybody, there's a very simple fix to all of this. Either the school district removes the label or we should remove their federal funding. And we should give them a 24-hour deadline. That's what we ought to do here. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. Now, coming up after the break, we're going to take you to this insane rally that was held yesterday for Turning Point USA on the campus of UC Berkeley. And it was a pretty horrifying thing. We have all sorts of video, all sorts of images from what happened on our website, toddstearns.com. So the gist of it is this: a group of Antifa thugs rioted, and they attacked TPUSA students. They were causing all sorts of mayhem, and it's just simply unacceptable. And we'll get into this, but they've got to start really, TPUSA needs to take a step back for just a moment, and they need to understand that whenever they go into a situation, they need to have some sort of a security plan. And I don't know if, who's ultimately responsible for that, if it's the organization, if it's the university. But if there is not a healthy police presence, then this kind of stuff is going to happen. And it got out of control way out of control last night. People were being spit on. They were hurling paint at the conservative kids. There was a mom who brought her 2 kids. They were heckled and screamed at. It's just insanity. And then only a couple of people got arrested. We understand maybe 6 people in all got arrested. But TPUSA is going to have to get a handle on this. We're going to play some audio from what happened, and then I'll throw in my 2 cents worth over the lack of security and why TPUSA does not have a lot of security at their events. There's a reason why, and I'll share that with you coming up. All right, don't forget, toddstearns.com, everybody. Go read and watch those videos from Berkeley. That cannot happen in America. It's just unacceptable. We'll be right back, everybody.
Great if life came with a remote control. You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists. So if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are two ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, so the good news here, ladies and gentlemen, is that the government is set to reopen. We are expecting some sort of a vote in the House of Representatives tomorrow, and the Speaker telling all the members of Congress to get back for the big vote. So tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest, that they'll vote on this CR, this continuing resolution. So, look, I think the big loser here is clearly the Democrat Party. they were literally counting on the Republicans caving, and the Republicans did not cave. As a matter of fact, it was Angus King, the senator, who said, we really can't believe the Republicans stood their ground. And it's true because, well, typically the Republicans, they cave, but not this time. They actually learned something from President Trump. So I say good for you Republicans for holding your ground. Now, that being said, there is complete free fall right now on the left, and you've got a lot of Democrats now calling for Chuck Schumer's head on a platter. That is probably going to happen. Would not be surprised if AOC does try to challenge Chuck Schumer for that Senate position. More than likely, that's going to happen. It's going to be an ugly race, but Schumer's done. I mean, when you've lost MSDNC and the Squawking Magpies on The View, you're done. It's over. So those days are gone. Schumer is on his way out. Pelosi, she's already announced she's on her way out. But what you're about to see, and as horrible as Schumer and Pelosi were, as horrible as they were not radical progressives. They were not AOCs or Ilhan Omar's or Rashida Tlaib's or even Jasmine Crockett's. These were, I mean, you could have a conversation with Pelosi and Schumer. But what's coming behind them is going to radically change and alter the Democrat Party. It is going to be the party of Zohran Mamdani. As a matter of fact, the argument could be made that as a result of his election to the largest city in America, Zohran Mamdani is the de facto leader of the Democrat Party right now. I mean, I'm not joking here, folks. I mean, this is a big deal to be mayor. That is the highest ranking position in America held by a Democrat right now. So I hope that gives you some perspective on where things are with the Democrat Party. It is a complete and utter mess right now. Now, on the other side of this, and we've been talking about this for a while on the show, is the problems with the economy, and especially when it comes to younger Americans who are trying to, buy their house, try to get out there and get a good job, and it's been tough going. And the administration has been pushing back, and the administration's, let me just say this, the administration's messaging on this particular issue is out of whack. It's not working. And for the White House to come out and say, oh, you guys have nothing to complain about, the economy is great. No, it's not great. I mean, it's getting better. No doubt about that. It is getting better. But right now, for a good many people in this country, including conservatives, they are really struggling. Now, here's what I recommend, and the White House can take it or leave it. Here's a thought, a suggestion. The reality is that a lot of schools are not teaching kids about the economy. They're not teaching kids about economics. They're not teaching kids about budgeting and how to balance a check, but they're not teaching them all of these things that many of us grew up learning in our taxpayer-funded classrooms. All right? So we have a generation, I do not mean this in a bad way at all, but we have a generation of really stupid people, and it's not their fault. The schools are responsible for this. The schools are responsible for the dumbing down of our people. Remember, it wasn't when I was in school, you wanted to strive to be in those honors classes or advanced placement classes. That there was aspiration. Now, the teachers are just teaching to the lowest common denominator in the classroom. And by the way, many of those honors classes are gone. But even still, they're not teaching the kids, and there's a devious reason behind it. And it seems to me that in this quest to become a communist nation, you've got to start churning out stupid people from your education system. And so the education system has been more than happy to oblige, and so they've dumbed down our society. And that's just across the board. And it's no one's fault except for the academic system. That's it. But so here's what needs to happen, and this is what I recommend from Todd Starnes to the White House. I think we need to rework the messaging on the economy, and we need to just lay it out there in very simple terms. For example, gas during the Biden administration was, well, I'm just making up numbers here, so bear with me. Let's say this. Gas during Biden's administration was $5 a gallon, but today it's $2.50 a gallon. Donald Trump brought down the price of gas, and here's how he did it. Something very simple like that. Or this is what a house used to cost you during the Biden administration, and here's what it costs you now, and here's the reason why prices are so high, and here's what we're doing to drop those prices, and here's a projection of when we anticipate those prices coming down. I would do that to every single issue. You say, Todd, every single issue? If the price of mayonnaise is $10, you need to get out there and say, okay, here's why Duke's mayonnaise is so expensive. Every single thing. And I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, if the White House is able to do that, I think people are they're going to get it. And they're going to be able to understand. But to get out there right now and say, oh, yeah, things are great. By the way, the complaint about the president being out at all the foreign countries. And, yeah, that was the optics of that's a problem when the domestic policies need a lot of tender love and care. All the administration had to do was come back and say, you know what, the reason why we went to France, I'm just conjecturing. The reason why we went to France is because we're trying to work out a deal so you guys can get cheap wine, or I don't know. But you need to explain the economic reason that you're visiting these other countries. People have short-term memories. They're not paying attention. All they see is what is and what is not in their bank account. And the administration just needs to do a better job of communicating that to the American people. And the other issue here, this is not a bad thing, but this administration and covering this administration is like drinking water from a fire hydrant. It's just so much stuff is happening. I mean, this president has been incredibly successful, incredibly. The most successful presidency in modern American history. But the reality is that a lot of this stuff that's truly impacting people, and is foreign policy important? Yes, it is important. But when you can't pay your bills, when you can't feed your kids, that becomes the bigger problem. That's all I'm trying to say. All right, 901-260-5926. How do you think the administration is doing right now? How do you think the Trump White House is handling everything? Give us a call. Let us know. 901-260-5926. Let's go to Salem, Oregon. Dion is listening to us on KYKN. What's on your mind today?
Todd, it's a pleasure to talk to you. My husband and I listen to you every morning.
Well, thank you.
I want to tell you a little story about my dad. If you were to go to Google and type in George L. DeLand, D-E, capital L-A-N-D, you would see a couple of pictures of my dad building the model of the P-52 Mustang. When the war was on, my dad wanted to fight. My dad was born in 1904, and he wanted to fight, but they said, no, you are too valuable to us because you work for North American and you know how to build airplanes. So we want you to help build the P-52 Mustang. My dad worked for 2 years on that plane, 14 hours a day, 7 days a week. He ended up having a nervous breakdown over it, and they gave him 3 days off to rest up, and then he finished the airplane. And when he died, he wanted to be buried in the valley in Salt Lake where he was born. And my brother he called Hill Air Force Base, local Air Force Base in Utah, and he wanted to have a flyover for my dad because of the work he did. And they said, sorry, he wasn't in the military, we're not flying over. So my dad called the National Guard, and they sent a tanker, and the tanker flew over and dipped its wings for my dad.
Is that right?
That's it. If you look George L. DeLand on Google Images, you'll see my dad, one picture of him in the work area and one in the wind tunnel, and he's working on the model of the P-52 Mustang.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. What a great photograph, and really what a great memory.
Yeah.
Now, which
Yeah,
one is
my
your
dad
dad?
was-
Is your dad the one tinkering with the wing, or is he the other guy?
He's the one with the black hair.
All right. Good-looking guy there.
My dad looked like Jimmy Stewart. He was tall and thin, and and my dad was one of the things about my dad was he was the Fred Astaire of the Salt Lake Valley. He loved to dance, and he made the first pair of what are the things you put on the bottom of your shoes, like the dancers use?
The tap dancers?
Yes, he made the first pair of taps.
Wow.
In the Salt Lake Valley, and he sold them to people to put on their shoes, so when they danced, their feet would clank on the wood. And he ended up marrying a Southern Baptist woman from Missouri who didn't.
So your dad's a smart man.
Yeah. Well, he married her, but she didn't dance because her Southern Baptist roots told her not to dance.
Yes, we couldn't dance or play cards. I'm not quite sure. They were afraid of that we would just spontaneously start having babies. I don't know what that was all about, but
yeah, my mother didn't play cards either.
No, you can't. Can't do that.
Anyway.
You know, Dion, it's so funny. I'm looking at the photo. I completely see the Jimmy Stewart likeness. Completely see it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for calling
in.
in.
To talk to you and to tell you about my wonderful father.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. What a great story. Dion, thank you. And thank you for listening to KYKN there in Salem. Let's go to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Dave is on the line. Hi, Dave. What's going on?
Hey, Todd. I was telling your call screener, a lot of this stuff, we got to really be careful about the comments we make about the economy getting better and prices, because a lot of this, and it was by design, during COVID, and that's when a lot of the stuff that's going on right now, when it started, we're talking about supply chain shortages, and we can't unload ships and we can't ship stuff, and diesel has doubled in price because I don't know how COVID makes diesel go up, but remember when the price of trucking stuff got insane, and a lot of that pricing should have recovered with a lot of the other stuff, and it did not. And when we're giving away pallets of cases of baby formula to illegals, and then people cannot find it on the shelves for regular everyday, I told her, I said, after the storm in western North Carolina, one of the things that they wanted was baby formula. Well, I had a hard time finding that stuff, and they wanted certain ones, and it had more than doubled in price from 2-3 years before, so I don't know how these people can afford to feed babies anyway. Wages are not going up in most places along with the price increases, so we hear things about prices are coming. Well, they're really not. And right now, two of the things that I deal with a lot are automotive repairs and construction. So the tariffs are hitting me tremendously. And when I hear things like, oh, we're bringing in all this money on the tariffs, well, you're welcome. I'm paying it. And so we really need to focus on when we say things are getting better, who they're getting better for, how they're getting better, because we've got a lot of people out here. We hear about, and I'll give you an example. We hear about most of America, half of America, whatever it is, can't put together $500 in an emergency. Air traffic controllers can't go to work because they can't pay their rent. So instead of going to work, they're working side jobs for cash. And that's another thing. I've heard a lot of military air controllers who are getting out of the business because the FAA won't let them transition. They've got to be retrained. Turn left heading 270. Really? What's the difference? If we need air traffic controllers, because that's what Reagan did. He brought in military controllers. If we need air traffic controllers and we've got them getting out of the military and we need them in the civilian workforce, then why aren't we doing an expedited pipeline to get all these people in the job?
Well, Dave, another big issue is the H-1B visas, and that is going to be a contentious issue. But the numbers of Americans that are simply being laid off from their jobs, and these companies are going and they're hiring the cheap labor using H-1B visas. That is just unacceptable. And again, I think all of this does add up. And the administration, to your point, and I think that was the message here, is the administration has to do a better job of messaging and saying, okay, you say that the economy is getting better. Give us specifics, because rent prices are going up, home prices are going up, the price of food continues to go up. So we need to know exactly where those things are being impacted.
Well, that's just it. One of the biggest examples out there right now, and I hear it I deal with a lot of military active duty, a lot of veterans across the state all day, every day. And I hear the general public, and I'll tell you right now, one of the things I hear is we don't need a ballroom if people can't have a place to live. It's the extravagance of one thing, and
well,
he's paying for it.
And Dave, let me say this again, and this is where it has to, this is where the messaging matters. The president should have just come out and said, and they did, but he should have made it very clear that no tax money was being used. That ballroom was being built by private donations. And that kind of gets lost in the news coverage, and that's on the media. But the reality is you cannot trust the media, and the White House knows that. And so they've got to get that messaging out there. That building is being built. Not a single penny of our tax money is being used. It's all private donations. Dave, I got to run. I am super late for a break. Appreciate you calling in. We'll be right back.
The most trusted source for conservative news. This is the Todd Starnes Show.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
Yes, y'all, this is the season of eating, and food is everywhere, but you don't have to gain weight if you are taking Calitrin. Calitrin is going to help you lose the inches and the pounds even during the eating season. And it does it without drugs and stimulants, so it's safe with all your medications, even your heart patients, your diabetics. This product is really good for you. Proven for almost 30 years, drug-free, stimulant-free, and right now, y'all, Calitrin is on sale. If you go to the website toploss.com, you're going to see that not only is it $10 off every single month, but there's also an unlimited buy 3 get 3 free. That's at toploss.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and be sure to use that promo code TODD. Hey, Patriots, Todd Starnes here with big news. Trump's fighting for our country to get it back on the right track, battling China, who's likely dumping treasuries to sink the dollar, and facing tariffs that are having a sharp bite on the stock market. Now, Trump is playing the long game for America, putting Americans first. But like hard work, there's always going to be some pain. So you've got to play smart, too. Secure your hard-earned savings and retirement with Vault U.S. Gold. Their IRS-approved gold IRAs let you roll over your IRA or 401k with a no-commission pros. Safe, simple, tax-smart, protecting your future. Want it in hand? Well, their direct delivery program ships insured gold and silver to your door, offering privacy, yours to store securely. Real assets that you can hold and touch for tough times. Call 833-511-GOLD. That's 833-511-4653 or visit vaultusgold.com/Todd Starnes for your free investor kit. And tell them Todd sent you, and don't go unprotected.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all are going to sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe."
Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. All right, coming up, we're going to be talking to our good buddy Josh Jones, get the lay of the land in politics. Also, Karen Taylor Robson is running for governor of Arizona. She is a fierce supporter of President Trump, and she has an incredible resume, so we'll be talking to her a little bit later on as well. Want to remind you, if you haven't already done so, some great stocking stuffers for your family over at ToddStarnes.com. My brand new book, it's called Star Spangled Blessings, Devotions for Patriots. Also, there's our other devotion book, our Daily Biscuit Devotions with a Drawl. Those are two wonderful little books. They can fit nicely into your Christmas stocking, and it makes a great gift for the Patriots in your life. Again, ToddStarnes.com. You can order those, or you can get them wherever you buy your books. All right, hang tight, everybody. Got to take a quick break. It's been a great first hour. Hour 2 coming up next.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a natural bodybuilder, so I know when something works and when something doesn't. I've tried so many different products. When I got your product, and like I said, I'm a natural bodybuilder. As soon as I got it, did them for a week, and I told my brother, I said, Rick, you need to try these. You know I won't give you nothing if it don't. He tried them, bam, the first day. He said, this is a good product. And I got my mom on them, and I just keep pushing your product. It's a great product. You're a great company, and everybody there I've talked to has been so kind. Great product. It does what it says it does.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
And wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
From Affirm Films and director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story. When John O'Leary suffers burns over 100% of his body, it's a battle for survival. But through the care and support of community heroes, John's resilience leads him to discover what it means to truly live.
The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire.
Soul on Fire. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. More information is available at soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on fire.
The Anchorage School District has a problem with the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. A website called Must Read Alaska posted photos of a disclaimer that had been added to copies of both founding documents. You can see the disclaimer on my website, toddstarns.com. The label actually read, "The Anchorage School District does not endorse these materials or the viewpoint expressed in them." A student alerted her mom, who then posted the images on social media. Now, Alaska Attorney General Stephen Cox called the label deeply disturbing and says public officers have to uphold and defend the Constitution, and that includes school board members and teachers. They have to swear to support and defend the U.S. Constitution. The school district has yet to weigh in on the controversy. You know, there's really a simple fix to all of this. Either the Anchorage School District removes the label or the Department of Education should remove its federal funding. I'm Todd Starnes.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
Live from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's Common Sense Conservative Commentary from Todd Starnes.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to the Todd Starnes radio program. What an honor to have you with us today on this Veterans Day edition of the show. We are broadcasting live, border to border, coast to coast, across the fruited plain. You know, we had some great calls in the first hour of the show, people talking about their family members who served as veterans. And today during the show, we're going to give you the opportunity to call in. If you want to give your loved one a shout out who served in the military, we would love for you to be able to do that. Some of you have some incredible stories to share, and we would love to hear those stories as well. I want you to write down our number, 901-260-5926. Again, 901-260-5926. You know, it's interesting about President Trump. He loves our military, and you can tell our service members know that it is real and he is authentic, and they respond in kind. I mean, when you look at how the troops handled Biden and especially Obama, they knew that Obama loathed them, that Obama could not stand the military. But Donald Trump, it's different. Something's different. There's a special relationship, a special bond. Back in 1995, a lot of people don't know about this story, but Donald Trump is a very generous man, a very compassionate man. And so many times he's helped people. He's never looked for attention, never looked for, a pat on the back. He just did something because it needed to be done. And there was a lot of that happening in New York City where people now despise him. People in leadership despise Donald Trump, a man who literally pulled New York City out of the throes of depression with his massive building programs. But back in 1995, there was a big problem. They had no money to throw the annual Veterans Day parade. I mean, this is insane. The 50th anniversary of the nation's parade in New York City, the Veterans Day parade, and there was no money. They were going to have to call it off. They were going to have to cancel it. So Donald Trump found out about all of this, and he said, wait a second, we can't let this happen. So it cost about, $2.9 million to put on the parade, and they were way short. So Trump steps in and says, you know what? I'm going to take care of it for you. $375,000. Wrote a check, gave it to him, able to cover all the bills. And it was Donald Trump who saved the Veterans Day parade there in New York City. As a matter of fact, they were so honored, the veterans were so honored, that they gave him an honorary title of Grand Marshal of the parade. So God bless President Trump. By the way, he also allowed organizers, and this is, again, little-known stories. He allowed the organizers to use his helicopter to travel between different parts of the city and get there quickly. Donald Trump went beyond, over and above, to make sure that our veterans were able to have a parade in 1995. He saved it. Donald J. Trump. You don't hear those kinds of stories in the media, do you? Hey, let's go to the phone lines. KELY in beautiful Nevada. Melody is on the line. Melody, I understand your grandfather is a veteran.
Yes. My dad's dad. During World War I, he was stationed in France. He went over on the Carpathia. And the nice story about this is while he was in France, he befriended a French family that owned a tavern over there. And he taught the tavern's children English, and they taught him French fluently, and he could also read and write it. And they remained friends during my grandfather's time in France, and they continued after the war to write letters in French to my grandfather. And I still have a lot of the letters, but that family was so grateful to my grandfather and the Americans, and they always called him their American friend. And they talked in the letters how hard it was after the war, living in Europe. And my grandfather sent, gifts of food and stuff during that time. And they stayed in contact for years. And then much later, during the 50s, the young girls wrote letters to him in English. And they stayed friends. I don't know. I was young when my grandfather died, but I don't know if he ever met them. But they did stay in contact, and they had a wonderful friendship with his French friends.
What a wonderful story, Melody.
I have all the letters, and I did have a gentleman, a friend of mine that spoke French. He translated some of the letters for us, and that's how we found out how awful it was after the war in France. So anyway, nice story. We still remember it and brings tears to our eyes when we hear about it.
And Melody, I have to imagine it really puts your grandfather, you look at your grandfather or your uncles or your family members, it puts them in a different light, a different perspective.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And during some of the ceremonies they've had over the years here in our community, I have had those letters read during, especially 100 years of the war. In 2018, we read some of those letters during a ceremony. So it means a lot to us.
Melody, thank you so much for sharing that story.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. What a beautiful story. 901-260-5926 is our telephone number. If you've got a story like Melody just shared, we'd love to hear it. You think of Grandma and Grandpa as Grandma and Grandpa, but you don't think they've had these amazing lives and they've met so many people. Many of them are well-traveled, and I love hearing those kinds of stories. All right, we got to talk about MTG. She is making a lot of headlines, and I want to go back and play what's causing all the hullabaloo. First of all, this is MTG talking to Tucker Carlson about food prices and rent and other things. Cut number 10, please.
Food prices are high, rent is high, home prices are ridiculously high, cars are high, auto insurance, home insurance, health insurance is insane. Energy prices are high. I can tell you that in my own electric bills. They're much more expensive than they were even a year ago.
All right, so she's just sort of laying it out there, and I'm just curious, from your own personal experience, and maybe from the people you go to church with, you hang out with, is that true? Are you hearing what MTG is saying here? Is that reality in your community, in your town? So then she goes on in another interview to talk about inflation. By the way, and inflation is holding steady at 2.5% right now. Here's MTG. Cut number 9.
Talk about how much have you heard from people, about your constituents, about affordability issues, and what are you doing to try and keep costs low, across the board?
Yeah, it's something we hear about every single day. So under the Biden administration, it was in 2022, we saw inflation hit a 40-year high at 9%. And these prices have not come back down. I give the President Trump as his administration, they're holding it right now at 2.5%. That's pretty much the average, and that's a good thing. However, life is unaffordable. And with the health insurance crisis coming that will start January 1st with these new premiums, and credit card debt is at an all-time high. With our economy having some softening, which we could see possibly a recession, these are alarm bells for me, and they're blaring so loud. I've been talking about affordability for months now, but I think I'm the only Republican that's been talking about it. And I think it's a crisis, and I just think it is a complete failure on both sides of the aisle for anybody that serves in Congress to allow this to happen to the American people.
So President Trump was asked to weigh in on all of this yesterday at the White House, and here's what President Trump had to say about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Cut 8.
In a meeting with the Syrian president earlier today, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a big ally of yours, said that she would rather see you focused on nonstop domestic policy meetings here at the White House instead of nonstop foreign policy meetings. What's your response to her saying that, and also saying that grocery prices are up and not down, as you've said?
Yeah, so
I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think. But I have to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally. I mean, we could have a world that's on fire where wars come to our shores very easily if you had a bad president. We had a horrible president, and we ended up with Russia, Ukraine, and we ended up with other disasters, too. Don't forget, I put out 8 wars, 9 to come. I think I'll get the other one taken care of, but I put out 8 wars. And look at the damage that Russia, Ukraine has done to us as a country. I mean, we spent $350 billion. We're not spending any money anymore. Now they pay us through NATO. You know, I got NATO to go from 2% to 5%. Well, that's very important. When you're president, you really sort of have to watch over the world because you're going to be dragged into it. Otherwise, you're going to be dragged into a world war. I think if I weren't president, first of all, that war would have never happened if I was president. And if I weren't president, that war could have led to World War III. It won't. It's not going to anymore. But when I first got in, I said, wow, this situation could lead to World War III. And I got NATO together. I got everybody together. But with all of that, I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know. I don't devote a lot of my time.
So there you have it. President Trump not really that keen on MTG right now and said he doesn't know what's going on with her. But the question is very simple. Is Marjorie Taylor Greene right or wrong? Our telephone number, 901-260-5926. Let's go to Clarksville, Georgia. Alan, listening to us on WDUN. All right, Alan, what say you?
I say she's right because my cable bill, my Verizon bill, my local water bill, my insurance bill, car insurance, every bit of that has gone up in the last 6 or 8 months. I mean, for the last year, we've been seeing increases, but it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I think we've got a spending addiction here, and I think people at the top have it maybe worse than us down here at the bottom.
Well, keep in mind, nothing's actually been cut out of the government budget. I mean, that's the dirty little secret up on Capitol Hill. All that DOGE stuff, those are all recommended cuts, but nothing's really been cut right now. I mean, it's all been I don't want to say a big show, but, maybe they'll end up, getting rid of these, all of this waste and abuse in D.C. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this, too, and I'm a firm believer in America First and Donald Trump, but he missed it on the beef agenda, too. I'm a rancher. I know for a fact ranchers aren't getting that profit. We've had the first time since the 50s, we've started seeing a little bit at the stockyards when we bring our cattle in where we've had some increases, but we've been down so long. When you talk about equipment you have to purchase, the feed, the fertilizer, the treatments for the animals, I mean, we're barely hanging on, and he just got the wrong information there. I'm sorry, it's the Packers. And I know they're investigating them now, but my recommendation is we have one in every state. We don't need 4 for the nation. Every state needs a place to take the cattle.
Yeah.
Local beef for people.
Alan, your phone's breaking up there, but I think we caught the gist of that. And I've heard from a lot of ranchers who share the exact same concerns you have, and they're all America First guys. So let's see what happens. Clearly, somebody was feeding President Trump some bad intel there, and let's hope that they get that nipped in the bud. We got to protect American ranchers first and foremost. Alan, thank you for the call. By the way, I'm curious, how do you feel about the 50-year mortgage, ladies and gentlemen? The 50-year mortgage. What's going on there? Already trying to walk that one back. 901-260-5926, our number. That's 901-260-5926. Millions of people are now watching Newsmax on cable, also on our streaming channel, Newsmax 2, and they're downloading our free Newsmax app on their smartphones and TVs. Reuters says Newsmax is now one of the top news brands in the nation. Every night, great shows like Rob Schmidt, Carl Higbee, The Todd Starnes Show, Find out why Newsmax is the fastest growing news channel in America. You can make the switch today. Join our news revolution. You can get Newsmax on cable, on streaming. You can also download the free app today. Literally takes seconds to start. And by the way, let President Trump know that you stand with Newsmax. Real news for real people.
You're listening to Todd Starnes.
In a world where our values are under fire, it's time to stand strong. That's why you should know about Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank is a bank that stands for faith, family, and freedom. A bank that won't cave to cancel culture. Your money, your values. So if you're tired of banks that won't stand up for your values, it's time to switch to Old Glory Bank. Head on over to oldglorybank.com/Starnes and make the change today.
When you're working to protect and serve your community and country, you need a degree program that fits into your busy schedule. At Liberty University, you'll find just that. With 100% online program options and no set login times, you can advance your skills without sacrificing your commitments. Plus, we offer exclusive tuition rates and discounts to current and former service members, their spouses, and first responders. Learn more by texting DEGREE to 49595. That's DEGREE to 49595.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
That's right. It can be overwhelming when you see the number on the scale and you've got, 30, 40, 50, even 100 pounds to lose. But y'all, the hardest part is just getting started, and Calitrin's going to help you do that. You're going to lose the weight the right way, without drugs, without stimulants, so it's safe with all your medications, and where you can maintain it and keep it off even after you get off the product. So go to the website right now, toploss.com. You're going to see there's a huge sale with discounts on every single month of Calitrin, $10 off every single bottle. It's at toploss.com, or you can call us with questions toll-free, 833-TOP-LOSS.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and be sure to use that promo code TODD.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is Medi-Share. Maybe you've heard switching to Medi-Share to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for Medi-Share is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. Medi-Share works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right. Apparently an immigration attorney's out there saying that if foreign nationals, if they go to the DMV to get a driver's license, they're automatically registered to vote. And apparently this has been happening a lot. That is insanity, just insanity. You know, when I was driving back from Dallas, and really to and from, I'm telling you, my eyes were on every single big rig, every single 18-wheeler. It was insane. The Arkansas Highway Patrol, they're not messing around. They were pulling over these big rigs left and right. And I think they're looking for the illegal alien drivers. That's what I think is going on here. Anyway, 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. So Nikki Haley's son making his debut on TV. We're going to tell you all about that coming up in just a little while. It turns out that Nikki Haley's son is more conservative than she is. Did an interview on Fox. He says the future of Gen Z is nationalism, that illegal and legal immigration must stop. The guy's name is Nayland, by the way, Nayland Haley. Says that we've got to ban H-1B visas. We've got to reevaluate our relationship with so-called allies. And he's also talking about Gen Z's desire for labor, affordability, and safety. Wow, I did not see that coming. But anyway, that was the takeaway, the key takeaways from Nayland Haley, who is the son of Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina. This is we're going to ask Josh Jones about all of this coming up when we on the other side of the break here. But it certainly does seem as if Generation Z is probably more conservative on a lot of these issues than I would say even the grandparents of Gen Zers, or Gen Xers rather. I think you go back to the greatest generation, these kids may be more conservative than the greatest generation. So we'll see how all this plays out, but that's a very interesting take from this fella, Nayland Haley, doing his first interview. Says Gen Z is more conservative than any other generation. I believe it. All right, got to take a break. 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Stern Show.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Mike Lindell and MyPillow employees want to thank my listeners for all your continued support. You know, Mike has a passion to help everybody get the best sleep of their life. And he didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He also created the best bed sheets ever. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set for as low as $24.98. The MyPillow Percale bed sheets are breathable and have a cool, crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any mattress. They look great, they feel great, and that means an even better night's sleep for me, which is crucial for my busy schedule. Also, for a limited time, when you order over $100 worth of merch, you're going to get $100 in free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS to receive the MyPillow Percale sheets for as low as $24.98. Order now or call 800-839-8506 and use promo code STARNS. That's 800-839-8506. Use promo code STARNS.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh, really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Get hurt in a game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
And welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd. And welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Great to have you with us. All right. I want to play some audio. I mentioned to you that Nikki Haley's son, Nalem, has done his very first interview, and he sat down with Fox News Channel and talked a lot about the about his political beliefs, where he's coming from. You know, his mom has long been considered to be a rhino. She crossed President Trump, and that did not end well. But there you go.
The big problem is that we are seeing kids.
The big problem is that we are seeing kids graduate with 6 figures in debt and not having a job to show for it. My main friend group graduated with great degrees from great schools. It's been 1.5 years since graduation. Not one of them has a job, not one. And when we look at all the other statistics, we see that 58% of recent college graduates are unemployed. Of those 42% that are employed, 50% of them are having temporary jobs or jobs that don't require a degree. And then when you look at affordability in the housing market, my parents probably bought their first house for $90,000, and now it's probably worth $400,000. I don't see how I'm ever going to own a home, and I do pretty well for myself. So it's not just me that's feeling it, it's everyone feeling it. And you look at the crime and the lawlessness. In just the past couple months, I had someone who was shot and killed outside my apartment, and I live in what is considered a very safe area. In that same couple months, you had someone who was jumped over a bad drug deal. And I'm sick and tired of having to go to CVS and have to push a button for an employee to unlock the toothpaste for me. This is America. This isn't what we do. This isn't how things work. Things should be able to work. People should have jobs. Houses should be affordable. This isn't normalcy. And the American dream is becoming less and less attainable with each passing day.
Absolutely. Just this past week, we saw the introduction by the Trump administration of the idea of a 50-year mortgage. What do you think about that?
Whatever will lower the cost of houses, because right now we are prioritizing a lot of foreigners who come in here to take jobs, who work, and especially that's something we need to do. We need to get rid of the foreign worker visas. We need to ban H-1B visas, and we need to punish companies that are not putting American workers first and are putting foreigners first. It's a massive problem. And so anything to put more money in Americans' pockets and put American workers first, lower the cost of housing, I think we should absolutely do it.
A lot of people are surprised at your position on H-1B visas because you're Indian American, and H-1B visas a lot of them go to Indian Americans.
Right. Well, I mean, they shouldn't be, because I've seen how it's affected my friends and those around me. At the end of the day, my loyalty is to America. I don't have any, and that's part of assimilation. What we saw with Obama is that we had a lot of immigrants coming here, and the thought was, oh, you don't need to change. You don't need to have your loyalty to America. You could be who you are. No, you need to assimilate, and you need to act like an American and support American values and support American workers and American people. So, yeah, we should absolutely ban it.
I think there's a lot of people in the political party, in the Republican Party, who are a little bit worried and fearful. But it sounds like your ideas are very practical and very much relate to what is going on with your generation. I hope we can have more conversations with you, Nalin. You're a very smart, bright boy with a lot of independent ideas. Good for you.
Right. Well,
Nalin, thanks for joining us.
There you go. All right. So there you have it. Wow, this kid sounds like he's super America First conservative. Let's bring in our good friend, our official Republican strategist, Josh Jones. Josh, good to have you with us. What'd you think about Nikki Haley's son?
I mean, look, he's definitely hitting on a lot of notes that Gen Z voters and just individuals are worried about. I mean, the cost of housing in this country is absolutely out of control. And like he said, I don't know how I'm going to own a house. And I'm also, I've been employed for multiple years. I like to think I'm doing decent in my career. And it's still just a daunting task. So, no, he's definitely hitting on issues that matter to voters. And it's also interesting to see kind of his departure, at least in rhetoric, from his mom, Nikki Haley.
Departure. How about a hard right turn? Wow. So this kid, he's 24 years old. So, I mean, you guys are kind of in that age range here, Josh. What was it that stood out by what he was talking about?
I mean, look, the H-1B visas are absolutely a problem in the workforce right now. You have a lot of these companies, and it has nothing to do with actually having the skilled workers that they're looking for. A lot of companies abuse this program to lower wages across the board, both for foreign workers and for American workers. It's a lose-lose. The only people winning are these corporate staffing firms, let's call them, that abuse the system and bring in cheap labor to lower wages across the board. So he's absolutely hitting the nail on the head there. Now, I'm not going to say necessarily you get rid of the program entirely, because there are definitely skilled workers overseas that, do add value in certain sectors in the economy, such as tech. But the level that it's at right now is absolutely ridiculous. We should be prioritizing American workers. And like you pointed out, there's plenty of college graduates coming out of these, well-respected institutions that can't find jobs. And if they do find a job, oftentimes it's temporary or, something that they didn't necessarily study for, and they're having to pivot to just find an income while still trying to pursue that career. So I think he's clear message, absolutely hitting the nail on the head for Gen Z voters.
Here's what gets me. President Trump on Monday defended his administration's plan to offer, 600,000? Are you ready for this one, Josh? 600,000 visas to Chinese students. 600,000 visas to Chinese students. He was on Fox News with Laura Ingraham, and he's defending this, saying it's pro-MAGA. But he goes on to say that if we don't bring these Chinese kids in, then we may have some universities that may not be able to keep their doors open. Well, I don't know. It just seems to me that we shut down those universities. And if why are we bringing in Chinese that we're going to have to educate on our tax dollars? What about the American kids?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely. This is a fair point to raise. MAGA is centered around America first, and the administration should be reflecting that, and that includes President Trump. So, bringing in these 600,000 Chinese students, again, I'm not for getting rid of the H-1B visas across the board. There's definitely a value add to the economy by bringing in, talented workers and students in certain sectors. But to just, across the board, open the floodgates essentially is going to hurt American workers and hurt American families. So I hope the administration course corrects on that, and that there's voices inside the administration that are staying true to that America First message of putting American families and workers first.
No, look, you and I agree on this. And again, we want the best and the brightest. That was the whole point of the H-1B visa program. But, for example, in Memphis, we have FedEx, and you've got tens of thousands of FedEx workers here in the Mid-South. Many of them, a good many, are losing their jobs. They're being laid off, and then they're being replaced by people from India. And you're like, what is going on here? This is not right, and it needs to be addressed. And the president is on the wrong side of this one, I'm afraid. And I know a lot of people, including Michael Flynn, other conservatives, are really pushing back on why we need to bring 600,000 Chinese kids into America.
Yeah, no, I'm glad those voices on the right are, speaking out against this policy. Because also, too, the Democrats aren't right on this either, because the Democrats have always claimed that they're on the side of labor and supporting unions. If you really want to be on the side of the American worker and the labor force, this is the issue you need to be addressing and tackling. There's nothing more is affecting families and workers more directly than this. And you're absolutely right. And Memphis is just one case that's happening across the entire country. And again, it's a lose-lose for everybody, because not only are American wages going down, but they're also undercutting these foreign workers and giving them a cheap price, knowing that they can just game the system and bring them into the country. So I hope this, is an area that the administration is focused on. Look, we got 3.5 more years, so there's plenty of time to iron this out, but they definitely shouldn't be putting this on the back burner.
Here's what concerns me, Josh, because you've got a good education, you got a great degree from a great school, come from a great family, you're a hard worker, you got a great job, and a person like you should be able to get out there in their mid-20s and be able to put down a down payment on a house. You're financially responsible, and it's troubling because the economy is just not allowing that to happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's an absolute fair concern, and not to try and build myself up too much, but I would agree that I feel like I've done a lot of the right things. But even still, I'm not in a place in the current economy where that's a reality. I think that's, what you're seeing across young people, what young people are talking about across the board right now, even on the Democratic side of the aisle. Because if you look at New York, that's what happened with Mondami. His whole campaign was about affordability and cost of living, and he won. Republicans need to do the same thing. Obviously, I don't agree with Mondami's solutions. But look, there's no issue more important than the economy. It's specifically cost of living and affordability. If politicians can't address that, particularly Congress, before the midterms, you're going to see a lot of voters coming out and that being their primary motive. If Congress people aren't working to fix that, they're going to lose.
It's going to be a bloodbath. And what's going to happen? And I think the elections we just went through are an indicator, at least a partial indicator, and it's the enthusiasm gap. And right now, Democrats are enthusiastic, not so much about Chuck Schumer, but now they want to get rid of Chuck. So you're going to see the massive base of the progressive end of the party rising up. And if we're in the same spot next year at this time, then I think it's going to be bad news. And I'm curious about Virginia, especially what happened in those state house races. Forget about governor and lieutenant governor. I'm more concerned about what happened there in the House of Delegates.
Sure. It's a multitude of factors and not necessarily a one-size-fits-all answer, just because it's a big Commonwealth, a lot of different districts with different priorities. Number one, trickle-down effect, right, of the governor's race. You had a strong Democrat candidate, a weak Republican candidate. That's naturally going to affect down-ballot races. So that's number one. Number two is on the fundraising front. Republicans just got outspent abysmally across the board, whether it was governor or House of Delegates. They were outspent across the board. Now, money doesn't always win elections, but it helps. So that's a big factor as well. And I think number three is just a general, and you saw it in New Jersey and obviously New York, but New Jersey as well, it's the year after a presidential cycle where Republicans did very well nationally in 2024. So I think you saw a swing to the left naturally with the pendulum. It gives and takes because you saw the opposite back in 2021 when Governor Youngkin won. So I think in a way it's Democrat voters have a motive to get out and vote, and that was to reduce the Trump administration. Not to say I agree with them, but that was their motive. They had a motive factor to get out and vote in these polls, in these elections rather, whereas Republicans didn't really have a motivating factor this go around. So my message to Congress heading into 2026 is you have to lock in and get some of these priorities across the finish line before the election, or the electorate's going to vote for change regardless of what that change is because they're not seeing progress.
That continuing resolution maintained spending levels that were set during the Biden administration. There has been no change in Washington, and that's a big problem.
That is a big problem. And frankly, it just blows my mind that Democrats wouldn't vote for this bill a month ago when it's a clean CR from the Biden era, the Biden spending levels, and they shut down the government over it. It's truly a Democratic shutdown because it was their bill. They voted for the same bill back at the beginning of this year to send the government to be open until this fall. Obviously, it's shut down now, but it truly blows my mind that the Democrats shut down the government over this and hurting American families across the board, especially if you're traveling right now or if you're a federal worker, you're really not a spot of hurt. I'm glad to see that they're moving to reopen the government, but frankly, that's not enough because they haven't even addressed the spending levels at all. And that's what got us here in the first place in terms of the cost of living was a record inflation that Democrats and Republicans voted for back during the COVID era whenever they did all the stimulus spending. Now we're seeing the repercussions of that, and they haven't done anything to correct the course.
Josh, I want to go back to the Virginia thing, and I just, again, I'm trying to figure it out, and I think that Winsome Sears, she hurt herself. She tried to distance herself from Trump and then walk that back. That was problematic. I don't think she had a very clear vision or a message, and it wasn't inspirational. It was almost an angry message. I just couldn't ever pin her down on, why are you running for governor? And then, the lieutenant governor situation, that was just a colossal mess. But I think at the top of the ticket, that matters. And Youngkin ran an inspirational campaign. People are trying to blame him. The guy gave money, a lot of money, to Winsome Sears. I'm not sure what else he was supposed to do. And I don't blame him for being a little distant there because he doesn't want to get saddled with whatever happened last week.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Look, it's all about message discipline at the end of the day and having that aspirational message. You have to be running for something, not running against something. 9 times out of 10. I mean, sure, it's an equal balance, right? It's double-edged sword of you have to, go against your opponent's policies if, you disagree with them, obviously. But it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. And, yeah, to your last point there, Governor Youngkin did his part. I mean, he's an outgoing governor. He cannot run for re-election again in Virginia because of our election laws. So he helped fundraise, donate money. He went out on the campaign trail, rallied. But there's always so much he can do. At the end of the day, the buck stops at the top of the ticket, no matter what election it is. So Governor Youngkin did his part. And if you look at the polling, that's reflected. He has a positive approval still in Virginia. Most voters agree Virginia is heading in the right direction. So I think this was less of it was not a referendum on Youngkin at all, more so on the campaign and the national political environment.
All right. Here's my prediction. Governor Jones. It's got a good ring to it.
Well, that's very flattering.
Well, you wouldn't have to buy a house. You could just move into the governor's mansion.
Maybe that's the solution.
Public housing. All right, Josh, great insight as always. By the way, how was Jekyll Island? Did you have a good time down there?
Yeah, it was actually really great. The place was super nice. The weather is 10 out of 10. I don't know about Memphis right now, but it's like 30 degrees here. So it was nice to get down to Jekyll where it was in the 70s. So that was a great time.
Good, yeah. We got frost on the pumpkins down here. It's not good. Not good. All right, Josh Jones, be good, friend.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, good man right there, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Jones. We just tell it like it is. And the reason we do is we want Republicans to win. I mean, we've got a great message. We just need our candidates to actually live up to their campaign promises. And the other part of it, and pardon me on this, nobody will admit this in Virginia, but really that governor's race was being run also on identity politics because they were touting the first black Republican governor in Virginia. No, that's not who we are. You elect the best, most qualified person regardless of skin color. It does happen to be that Winsome Earl Sears is a black woman, but that should not have been the dominating factor, and I think they were trying to make that the case. But you've got to be smart when you're picking these candidates, and you've got to have the electability factor, and unfortunately, that just did not happen. That and the lieutenant governor nominee had a alleged Nazi sex porn scandal going on. That doesn't help either. Got to take a break. We'll be right back.
Truth and nothing but the truth. You're listening to Todd Starnes.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak, Macy McLean, with Devon Franklin and William H. Macy.
If you focus exactly on loving the life that you're living right now, and not the life that you think you could have had or should have had, that's the whole deal right there.
Soul on Fire, rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. Now playing. For tickets, go to soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on Fire. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Patriot Mobile's all-U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT, code Todd.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements. Our ingredients are 16 whole fruits, 15 whole vegetables, 4 powerful fibers, and 12 aromatic spices. It's one irresistible combo.
Oh, I have a friend, Julia, who has taken a Balance of Nature now for quite some time, and she said, "Oh, Becky, ask your doctor about taking Balance of Nature." So I talked to my doctor about it, and she said, "Oh, try it."
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
We are living in dangerous and unstable times. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes. Pandemics, international insecurity, shortages, supply chain disruptions, and an economy on the brink. We know we can't simply trust the government to protect us. Now more than ever, everyone needs to be prepared. And being prepared is more than just stockpiling ammo, food, and supplies. Being prepared should also include stockpiling critical prescription medications. And that's where my friends at the Wellness Company come in. Their medical emergency kit contains the prescriptions, antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that you need to keep you and your family safe, from anthrax to tick bites to COVID and even to a bioweapon like the plague. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit is exactly what you need to have on hand to be prepared. Go to twc.health/Starnes today and order. That's twc.health/Starnes. Use the promo code STARNS, and you're going to save an extra 10%.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. All right, this is going to be interesting. Ben Dieter is going to be on Mary Walters' radio program tonight, her podcast. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern time. That's going to be wild. You know, it's funny. Mary was giving him some guidance, some advice, and saying that there's really not much money to be made in the radio industry, so he ought to try his hand at something else. So Ben became press secretary for a congressman out of Tennessee, and now he's not making any money. He's broke. 40 days, no pay. But hopefully he'll get paid this month. We're hoping. All right, that's going to be a lot of fun. You got to tune in and listen. That's 7 o'clock tonight. Folks, hang tight. Hour 3 of The Big Show coming up next. Friends, here's a reality check. Your biggest retirement expense likely isn't groceries or health care. It's taxes. Add inflation eating away at your dollar, and it's easy to see why so many run out of money. Lassiter Capital helps solve that problem by giving you access to real estate investments designed to generate income, protect against inflation, and provide huge tax advantages. Founder Ty Lassiter calls it the 4 keys to investment success. Visit LassiterCapital.com/Starnes or call 817-912-1569 to schedule your free consultation.
Everyone's goals for advancing their education look different. At Liberty University, we've helped thousands of students like you earn their dream degree. So no matter what your goal is, we can help you get there. With over 450 degrees from the associate to the doctoral level to choose from, most of which are 100% online, you'll find what you need to succeed. To discover which degree might be the best fit for you, text degree to 49595. That's degree to 49595.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
From Affirm Films and director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story. When John O'Leary suffers burns over 100% of his body, it's a battle for survival. But through the care and support of community heroes, John's resilience leads him to discover what it means to truly live.
The most powerful weapon on earth is the human soul on fire.
Soul on Fire. Rated PG, parental guidance suggested. Now playing. More information is available at soulonfiremovie.com.
Soul on fire.
The Anchorage School District has a problem with the Declaration of Independence and the U.S. Constitution. A website called Must Read Alaska posted photos of a disclaimer that have been added to copies of both founding documents. You can see the disclaimer on my website, toddstarnes.com. The label actually read, "The Anchorage School District does not endorse these materials or the viewpoint expressed in them." A student alerted her mom, who then posted the images on social media. Now, Alaska Attorney General Stephen Cox called the label deeply disturbing and says public officers have to uphold and defend the Constitution, and that includes school board members and teachers. They have to swear to support and defend the U.S. Constitution. The school district has yet to weigh in on the controversy. You know, there's really a simple fix to all of this. Either the Anchorage School District removes the label or the Department of Education should remove its federal funding. I'm Todd Starnes.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's conservative blowtorch.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we have a lot going on this hour of the program. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Todd Starnes Radio Show. I want to play some audio. This is from the president of the Turning Point USA chapter there at UC Berkeley, speaking last night. This massive mob of people, Antifa, causing all sorts of mayhem. Here is the president of TPUSA there at UC Berkeley. Cut 11, please.
And to all those protesters outside, I have one thing to say. It is clear to us which side is winning when your side becomes the violent agitators. When you try to win with force and not through reason, you have lost. And the reality is they would never come in and ask a question. They're not trying to win honestly. They have already lost the intellectual battle. Their goal is to disturb the crowd, silence those who disagree, and destroy any ounce of conservatism that they can get their filthy paws on. But you know what? They are not going to stop us. They are not going to stop us because tonight we are here to carry on Charlie Kirk's beautiful legacy. We are here to show the world why we love America, why we love God, to turn this place into a society that our kids can feel happy raising kids of their own someday. We are here to show that the true lunacy of the left is that they thought they could silence Charlie Kirk by killing him. Because tonight, we are Charlie Kirk. We are the movement that he created, and we are the fire that lights the flame of the fight. So now let's make Charlie Kirk proud. What do you say? Charlie Kirk, I love you, buddy. Now I want everyone, there's rally posters on your chairs of Charlie Kirk. I want everyone to raise them up and cheer for Charlie. Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk!
All right, just a little taste of the rally last night, but it was insane outside the UC Berkeley campus where you had all sorts of chaos going on. As a matter of fact, Rob Schneider was there, one of the speakers, and he was just really enraged at UC Berkeley. Cut number 6, please.
Conservative activist Rob Schneider said the birthplace of the free speech movement needs to do some soul searching.
Let me tell you, Berkeley, shame on you, Berkeley. Shame on you. The regents, the academics here, you should fight for free speech. If free speech means anything, it's the right for me to say something that pisses you off, if it means anything. Free speech is all speech.
Yes, well, it ought to be. But unfortunately, we've raised a generation of young people through our school system to believe that free speech is a bad thing. As a matter of fact, when you look at the surveys, and we've gone through this many, many times, and I first alerted the nation of this way back. It was well over, I think, 10 or 11 years ago when I wrote a book called God Bless America. And I warned people then of a survey that was put out by Pew Research Center showing an alarming number of millennials at the time believe there should be limitations on free speech. Well, now we are in a situation where an overwhelming majority of Americans in the Generation Z world, as well as millennials, believe there should be limitations on free speech and that violence should be used to silence speech that you find offensive. Now, the question, of course, is an obvious one. Okay, well, who gets to decide what speech is offensive and what speech is not offensive? Who makes that determination? And that is the debate that's being had on university campuses across the nation right now. Here is someone from Frontlines, which is the news agency that is run by TPUSA. Cut number 1, please.
Anytime!
My experience tonight, just trying to go with my daughter to attend a Turning Point USA event in Berkeley, was so horrible. We got paint all over us. I don't know if someone shot a paintball that shattered a window next to us, or if they hurled or shot something with glass. A glass bottle. I don't know. All I know is something shattered. Paint went all over us. I just saw footage. I stood out because you could see my big green dress and my daughter in her jean cap and jean dress. I could see some footage that someone else posted. See us on there. It looked like every single police officer from Berkeley was there at that event. Number one. Number two, they were behind barricades. There was no separation between the attendees or those trying to attend, because I didn't get to attend, and Antifa. Antifa was there. It was horrible. I've been to many rallies. I've been to many conservative events. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. I almost didn't want to leave my daughter there, but she's with a group of her club mates that she knows, and they're safe. They're inside. It did give me some consolation that they were very thorough. Turning Point was very thorough. Checking the tickets. I was denied. She got her ticket as a student through their special Turning Point portal. Mine, she got through an events portal, and for whatever reason, they ruled it invalid. So I was just glad that they were doing, even though I didn't get to get in, I was glad they were doing some kind of checks. But it's horrible, you guys. I mean, I got paint all over me, all in my hair. My daughter's friend had glass in her hair. And I just grabbed them and tucked and tried to run with them and get away from whatever was going on. Y'all pray for us. Pray for Berkeley, please.
Yeah, it's a terrible thing, what happened last night. Not surprising at all. Now, John Paul Leon, who is the president of TPUSA at Berkeley, was on, I believe, with Fox today. And here's what he had to say. Cut number 5.
So I originally entered in UC Berkeley planning not to be political at all. I was very much a shy conservative, as you might say, and I was planning on keeping my politics to myself. But essentially, as I got more and more in depth, as I started studying more, as I started caring more and more about my values, I realized that Berkeley is a place where I shouldn't be hiding it. And it is quite the journey to face off against the radical left as they come in and they try to throw out words like fascist at us, which you just see all day, and you very much get desensitized to it. But I'm very much willing to engage intellectually with my ideas and to do whatever it takes to help support our beautiful movement.
And there's some video of you walking on stage last night, and y'all had the chair there with the Freedom T-shirt where Charlie would sit. You were friends with Charlie. Y'all had talked about this tour, and this was going to be the last stop on the tour. Charlie was supposed to be there, and he wasn't there, obviously. What was your relationship like with him, and how did he influence your life? Because it sounds like you are fine with debating people who disagree with you on your campus.
Yes, that's correct. So I had the opportunity to meet Charlie Kirk a number of times. I had a breakfast with him at Student Action Summit this past summer in Tampa, Florida. And of course, we talked about a wide variety of topics. Throughout that, Charlie Kirk, he was a man who would ask the right questions. He would listen to you, curiously minded, and he would push back where he needed to, pull back when he needed to. And it was just such an overwhelming presence to sit next to him and to be talking with a man who I very deeply admired.
All right, just a bit of the president there. Sounds like a great kid, and, he just, he wants to get a degree, and he wants to be able to talk about conservative values on campus. I find nothing wrong with that at all, nothing objectionable. So, look, I do want to step back, though, and talk about the security and the lack of it last night at the TPUSA event. That was just uncalled for. Now, I want to back up and tell you a story about an incident that I was involved in with TPUSA. And this was I believe, last year before last, when TPUSA brought in a Kyle Rittenhouse to the University of Memphis. Now, when I got word that TPUSA was going to be here, I reached out. The radio station I own in Memphis, KWAM, we happen to be the Charlie Kirk affiliate, and we wanted to do our part to promote. And I just casually mentioned to them, guys, what about security? And then somebody sent my note up through the food chain at TPUSA. And I'm not going to tell you who responded to me, but it was not Charlie, but it was someone in upper management and leadership there. And I said, just so you're aware, bringing Kyle Rittenhouse to campus is going to create a large controversy. This is a predominantly black school, and bringing Kyle in is going to create a scene. And I said, do you have good security? So the whole point of my conversation was, you guys need to be aware of how this is being perceived and how people are reacting, and you may want to have some additional security here just in case. And they're like, oh, yeah, we've got all that covered. Well, clearly they did not. They didn't have any of it covered. And it was so bad, I was at home. I decided not to go to the event, and I came back. I was at home, and I got an urgent call from the TPUSA folks here locally, and they said, Todd, we don't know where to go. We're being literally chased off of campus by this mob. We need a safe space. And I said, I'll meet you at the station. I'll be there in 5 minutes. So just come and we'll provide a safe space for you guys. And I'm sitting here going, what is going on here? Why would you not have security, like significant security, when you're doing these controversial events? And it dawned on me because the next day, let me back up. Maybe the day after that, I received an email because I'm on the Turning Point USA email list. And they were fundraising over the fact that they got chased off of campus. And then it dawned on me, that's the point. That was the whole point of coming to Memphis, was to generate a mob to get run off of campus so you can raise money and fundraise off of it. And I got to tell you, I had a big problem with that. But it concerns me. And again, if you want to raise money and that's how you raise money, that's between you and God and your banker. All right, that's on you. But when you're putting these college kids in a situation where violence could happen, when you're being chased off campus, it's a disturbing thing. So when I heard about the lack of security there at the Utah Valley State University, I was not surprised in the least. Not surprised at all. But a lot of these other groups out there, I don't want to paint with a broad brush. A good many of these groups, including mostly conservative groups, that's how they raise their money. They go in, they cause a scene, and then they raise money off of the, whatever happens as a result of that. It's troubling. It's troubling. And we've got to be careful. So Turning Point USA has every right to be able to go onto the campus of UC Berkeley and conduct a gathering, conduct a meeting. Campus security has every responsibility to make sure that happens, as does the local police department, but also TPUSA does as well. They've got to have their security teams in place because they've got to protect their people. We do that when we go out and do events. It's fairly low key. We're nothing of the, we're not the size of TPUSA by any stretch of the imagination, but even we have security. We have a plan when we go out to do things. Anyway, got to take a break. 901-260-5926. The breaking news, by the way, the Harmeet Dillon says they are launching an official investigation into what happened last night at TPUSA at the UC Berkeley campus. This could get very interesting here. We'll keep you updated on developments. We'll be right back.
Hear what's happening from Todd along with the biggest newsmakers first on the Todd Starnes Show.
Hey folks, Todd Starnes here. What's your plan when the smartest investors who never lose pile into gold and silver? They're buying now, watching value climb. Are you okay with missing out, seeing them thrive while you wait? Vault U.S. Gold is the answer, trusted by pros. They offer gold IRAs to secure your retirement and gold and silver delivered, shipped, and insured to your door. Want to roll over your 401k? Well, their experts make it seamless, honest every step. Why Vault US? Well, they're steady, reliable, no tricks, just value. Gold's hot. Don't regret sitting this out. Call 833-511-GOLD. That's 833-511-4653 or visit vaultusgold.com/Todd for a free investor kit. That's 833-511-GOLD or 833-511-4653 and get your free investor kit. And say Todd Stern sent you. Vault US Gold. Buy smart, win big.
Grandma's Kitchen, where laughter and warm meals mingle. Each bite is a journey through generations. As you gather around the table, complement the meal with Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements. Our veggies supplement, made from 15 ingredients like garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper, can easily be opened and added to your favorite dishes like homemade soups or dips. Not to mention our fruit supplement, which is made from 16 ingredients like banana, strawberries, and mango, making it a great addition to your homemade smoothies. So the next time you gather with family, enjoy Balance of Nature supplements as an addition to your favorite dishes. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
So I've got a question for all you Texas people. What's going on in your state? I asked that because when I drove down to Dallas, I was staying at a very nice hotel over at the, it's the Omni, over at the Dallas Cowboys training facility. And so anyway, I was looking forward to, had an early supper, so I was looking forward to a good, hearty Texas breakfast. So I go down to the restaurant at the hotel, and I said, all I want is a big old thing of Dr. Pepper and give me a sausage biscuit. And they go, yeah, we don't have sausage biscuits. I'm like, what? What do you mean you don't have a sausage biscuit? They go, well, we have the sausage, but it's really not a patty. It's a link. And I'm like, well, okay, just put that on a biscuit. Well, we don't have biscuits. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have biscuits? This is Texas. You guys, it's like the official bread, right? Well, technically, Texas toast may be the official bread. I don't know, but I was stunned. So I'm sitting there, and the poor waitress, you could tell she could see the look of dejection because I'm like, well, what do you guys have? She goes, we have toast. Toast? Who eats toast for breakfast, for crying out loud? Nobody eats toast. I guess if you're from the Midwest, if you're from Minnesota, okay, maybe you eat toast. And I'm like, well, you don't have any biscuit? I kept going back. She was like, sir, we don't have any biscuits. I'm like, all right, well, what about and I was looking around to make sure nobody heard me. I'm like, what about a croissant? Do you have one of those? And she said, well, I could probably go over to the bakery and get one. I mean, no, don't do that. I said, I'll just have the toast. And then she brings over the toast. And, the week before I was at the College of the Ozarks, they had biscuits that were made by the students, and they were delicious. And they also had an assortment of jams made of berry and fruit. And I'm a big strawberry jam kind of a guy. So anyway, she brings over she goes, I found a croissant for you. And I'm like, well, thank you. So I was looking around to make sure nobody was staring, because, you're in Texas. Nobody wants to be eating a croissant in Texas. Not a man. I mean, you got to cash in the guy card. So I schmear it. That's a New York word, by the way. I learned that's what you do with bagels. You schmear a bagel. So I got some of this homemade berry compote. I thought it was strawberry jam. Took one bite and I couldn't. It's like my throat would not allow it to enter into the stomach. It would not go. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what is this? And it turned out to be some sort of cherry jelly. I'm like, who eats cherry? What is going on in Texas? A guy can't get a good sausage biscuit and a schmear of strawberry jam? It really did color the entire weekend experience for me. And I hate to say that because I'm sure you people have a lovely state, but you don't have any biscuits. What's wrong with you people down there? You see, this is what happens, though. I'm just going to blame this on the Californians. This is what happens when you let a lot of foreigners into your state. You walk around some parts of Tennessee, nobody's got an accent. What's up with that? We need to start dropping our G's again, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a country to save. And somebody get me a biscuit. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926.
Great if life came with a remote control. You could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists. So if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are two ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. Don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back, everybody. This is the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Happy to have you with us today on Veterans Day. I want to go to our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker line, say hello to our good friend from Arizona, Karen Taylor Robeson, running to be the next governor of Arizona. Karen, hope you're doing well.
I am. Thank you, Todd, for having me, and happy Veterans Day to you and your listeners.
Well, it's a big day, and I know we have a lot of veterans that listen to this program, and I know a lot of them are very excited about what's happening with this administration. President Trump, just a few moments ago, touting some of the great successes. The president pointing out, I want to make sure I get these numbers right, that benefit claims, the backlog has literally been cut in half by VA Secretary Doug Collins. So these are all great things that are happening on behalf of our great veterans. You know, Karen, we've got a lot to talk about, and I wanted to do a post-mortem on what happened last week. I know these were it was a weird election day, but my concern was really what happened in Virginia, not so much with the governor's race there, but what was happening in the House of Delegates where 13 Republicans got beat in their races. What do we need to learn here?
Well, first off, I want to go back to what you first said about President Trump. That's what you do. That's what you get when you put a businessman in charge of fixing things. He's fixing it not only in the Department of Veterans Affairs, but across the United States government. So, you know, I'm tired of the career politicians. We need business leaders to run the government and turn things around. But to the question of the election, we all have a lot of work to do. Virginia is a blue state, so it shouldn't be shocking, but it's certainly, concerning, and we have a lot of work to do. But I can tell you here on the ground in Arizona, which looks like a blue state from afar, it's not a blue state. Arizona is a red state, and we are going to work our tails off to make sure the rest of the country knows we're a red state.
I'm glad to hear that, because you're right. I mean, look, Virginia, outside of the suburbs around D.C., is a red state, and I see that in other areas of the country. Look at what's happening in Kansas, for example. They have a Democrat governor there, but it's a predominantly red state. I'm wondering if the issue really is about the quality of the candidates that we're picking as Republicans, and there has to be an electability factor there.
Yes, and President Trump won Arizona by almost 6 points. And yet we have a Democrat governor and 2 Democrat U.S. senators. So your point is well taken. Republicans, all of us, have to make sure that in these primary elections that we are electing candidates that can win in November. Otherwise, it's one thing to have what I would call a Pyrrhic victory in a primary, but if you can't win in November, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's what happened in Arizona in 2022, and we now have a Democrat governor and 2 Democrat senators for the first time in my lifetime in Arizona. And I know, having traveled around our state, this is a good conservative red state, and I want to make sure that the rest of the country knows it as well.
I think it's fascinating to watch these Gen Z voters, and they're going to become a very vocal part of the electorate. Nayland Haley, Nikki Haley's son, came out on his big debut on Fox News and sort of shared where he's at, which apparently is to the right of his mom, which was sort of entertaining to watch. But, it's interesting. This young man's 24 years old, and I've been hearing from a lot of conservatives from that age group, and they're expressing the very same concerns that people on the other side of the aisle are expressing about affordability, about the economy. What are you seeing out there in Arizona?
Well, it's the number one issue here, the affordability crisis. Our kids cannot afford homes. The average new home, first-time home buyer is like 40 years old now. It is, Washington has spent our kids into oblivion. They print money, creates inflation, interest rates go up, everything becomes more affordable. And these kids, pardon my language, these kids are pissed off at us. And they have, every right to be frustrated because the things that their parents' generation can afford is now out of reach for them. And they're mad. And it's, we just saw it in New York City. These people are not very happy with, they go to these colleges and universities and many times get, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt and worthless degrees. And next thing you know, they're baristas at the coffee shop. They're not very happy.
No, we
better figure this out.
We just had Josh Jones on. He's our Republican strategist, Liberty University grad. He works for a great political firm in D.C., 25 years old. And he said, even I can't, I've got a great job. I've got great credit. Even I can't go out there and buy a house right now. It's just beyond, what I'm able to afford. And that's tough. And when you see what happened in New York City, I'm with you. I think we need to pay very close attention to that one issue because that could come back and bite us in the midterms.
Yes, Yes, and we have a situation in Arizona where the affordability crisis has been completely exacerbated by a governor who doesn't know, she doesn't understand the first thing about the market and free enterprise. First thing she did was create a housing moratorium in Arizona, where we have all these people moving here from blue states, escaping California and Oregon and Washington, and then she creates these growth boundaries that does nothing but drive up the housing cost. And between that and the red tape that a lot of our blue cities are imposing, you can't get new housing built. And so, in a market where demand continues to outpace supply, it just adds to the burden of high interest rates and student debt that these kids are saddled with. And it's a recipe for, a wake-up call for all of us.
Karen, what are you telling these young people out on the campaign trail? What do you hope to be able to accomplish if you're elected governor?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is lift the moratorium on new housing, and then I'm going to demand that our local governments eliminate red tape to allow more housing units to be brought to the market so that the pressure on the price pressure is relieved. We have got to create a path for young people to believe that if they work hard, they'll have a future and they too can own a home.
Karen Taylor Robeson joins us. She is running to be the next governor of Arizona. When you look at the policies of the president, I think these are great ideas, the executive orders. We've just got to get Congress motivated to codify all of these so that we can have that lasting change that we need in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I, like many Americans, are pretty dissatisfied with Congress right now. The only thing they, seem to agree on is spending more money. We say spending taxpayers' money, which is what they're doing, but what they're really doing is mortgaging our children and our children's future. And that's, to me, unacceptable.
There was a great movie, Karen. This is like years ago. This is back in the 1990s. It was called Dave. And it was basically about, a guy who was a doppelganger for the president. The real president has a stroke. They bring this guy in to run the country. And they're trying to figure out a way to balance the budget and cut all the fat. And so the guy brings in his accountant, his tax guy from back in the Midwest, and he's able to solve all the problems. It just seems to me, that we do need business people to come to Washington, to come into the Arizona state capitol, sit down and cut through all the fat and deliver on something as simple as a balanced budget.
Right. I mean, if I couldn't balance my books, if I couldn't pay employees, if I wouldn't keep the lights on, if I couldn't achieve goals, accomplish things, my clients would fire me. Right. That doesn't seem to pertain to, our career politicians.
Mm. All right, Karen, where can people go if they want to get information about your campaign, getting involved, maybe volunteering or donating? How can they do that?
They can go to my website at KarenForArizona.com, and Karen is spelled Karrin, not your typical Karen. So it's Karrin for Arizona.com.
In your honor, Karen, I've stopped calling the Karens, so just in your honor. So,
Thank you.
But the thing I love most about your website, there are these two words: conservative businesswoman. And again, I think we need business people in government, and enough of these career politicians.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much.
All right, Karen Taylor Robeson, everybody. And I would encourage you to go and check out her website. That's Karrin, KarenForArizona.com. It's a great website. You'll be able to see her platform issues. President Trump has endorsed her run for governor, which is a great thing, and that should carry a lot of weight. But she's a great business person and a great lady as well. She's going to make a great governor of the state of Arizona. All right, we've got to take a quick break here, folks. 901-260-5926, our telephone number. That's 901-260-5926. This is the Todd Starnes Show.
You're with Todd Starnes.
In a world where our values are under fire, it's time to stand strong. That's why you should know about Old Glory Bank. Old Glory Bank is a bank that stands for faith, family, and freedom. A bank that won't cave to cancel culture. Your money, your values. So if you're tired of banks that won't stand up for your values, it's time to switch to Old Glory Bank. Head on over to oldglorybank.com/Starnes and make the change today.
For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile has been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all 3 of the main networks. Patriot Mobile's all-U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT, code Todd. Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and there's no better time to get in shape than right now. That's why I'm really excited that Calitrin is part of my weight loss campaign. Here's my friend Elizabeth from Calitrin.
Yes, y'all, this is the season of eating, and food is everywhere, but you don't have to gain weight if you are taking Calitrin. Calitrin is going to help you lose the inches and the pounds even during the eating season. And it does it without drugs and stimulants, so it's safe with all your medications, even your heart patients, your diabetics. This product is really good for you. Proven for almost 30 years, drug-free, stimulant-free, and right now, y'all, Calitrin is on sale. If you go to the website toploss.com, you're going to see that not only is it $10 off every single month, but there's also an unlimited buy 3, get 3 free. That's at toploss.com or call 833-TOP-LOSS.
Thanks, Elizabeth, and be sure to use that promo code Todd.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all are going to sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT. All right, welcome back to the Todd Starnes Radio Show. Happy to have you with us today. No, it's I was getting some hate mail regarding my commentary on biscuits. Starnes, what's wrong with bagels? Why do you not like the bagels? Do you have a problem with the Jewish delis, Starnes? Is that what's going on? What's wrong with a bagel and a schmear? Well, there's nothing wrong with a bagel or a schmear. I'm just a biscuit kind of a guy. And some of you are bagel people, and I get that. By the way, I only eat bagels in New York City. No, everywhere else is unacceptable. And you know why? Because it's the water. That's the secret to the good bagels in New York City. And look, I get it. They look like hockey pucks, but you get used to them. And, you know, if you have a Dr. Pepper, you can wash it down. It's a little dry. You know, you get parched. So I got nothing wrong. No, I love Jewish delis. They got the brisket, and they got the the pastrami on rye. That's very delicious. Not so much on the rye. That's a very dry bread. But I I just love a good sausage biscuit. And some people are saying that it's unfair for me to judge the entire state of Texas based on a restaurant and a hotel in Dallas. I would disagree with that. However, if you can tell me where I can get a good biscuit in Texas, I'll be there. Maybe you folks in Houston can help us out. I know we're working together. We're not ready to announce this yet, but I am coming to Houston for a book event. And maybe, just maybe, you guys will be able to help me out there. Of course, Tex-Mex in Houston, off the charts, insanely good. Our good buddy Matt Velasquez, who owns Patriot Talk 920, our great radio station and our great affiliate in Houston, took me to this. I wish I could remember the name of it. I'm going to ask him, and I'll give him a shout out tomorrow. But this restaurant, it's a family-owned Mexican restaurant, authentic Mexican food, unbelievable. And the salsas, everything is just delicious. All right, enough talk about food. I was telling the crowd, I spoke at Prestonwood Baptist Church on Sunday night. They had a big kickoff for the America 250 celebration, and this is a cool story. This church, they have thousands, if not tens of thousands of members, and Jack Graham is one of the most incredible preachers and men of God that I know. And he started that little church. They had just a handful of people, and now it is making such a huge impact. As a matter of fact, Scott Turner, our Housing and Urban Development Secretary, is a pastor at the church. Of course, he had to step down to go to Washington. But anyway, just good people and just beautiful folks there. So they're launching an entire year of celebrating America at the church, and they're doing all sorts of wonderful things, essay contest for students, concerts, and on Sunday night, they asked me to be the kickoff speaker for a deacon's dinner. And Dylan, you would have been impressed here at this dinner. It was just for the deacons and their wives, and they had about 300 deacons. 300 deacons. So it was a big crowd, all with their staff there. I think they had about 700 people. Now, there is a steakhouse in Dallas called Chamberlain's, and it's apparently one of the best steakhouses, if not the best steakhouse in the city. Chamberlain's Steak and Fish. The guy who owns it goes to church there, and so they prepared the meal. And so the way it worked, and normally I don't eat at these things, because when I'm speaking, I just want to be focused on speaking and not burping. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to hear that. So I normally just refrain from eating whenever I'm doing a speaking engagement. So anyway, the smell, the fragrances and the smoke was so overwhelming. I got to have something to eat. So anyway, we get up and they walk us outside. And as far as the eye can see, they had these massive grills set up. I've never seen such a contraption. But in Texas, everything is bigger. So anyway, the first stop, it was like rare steaks. Then the next smoker, medium rare. Then the next one, medium. Then the next one, medium well. And the next one, well done. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so you keep walking and walking. And then they had steaks or they had chicken and salmon. Then you get so they just plop it on. It must have been like, I don't know, a pound of beef. It was insane how much the giant steaks, just plopping them down, and they fed everybody in there. It's unbelievable. All the fixings, and it was just a great night. The speech was okay. It was all right. Not as good as the meal. I'm being honest with you. But they were very kind and generous. I don't think anybody fell asleep, but I was starting to nod off up there. But it was a wonderful time, and I wanted all that to say thank you, Prestonwood Baptist Church. You guys were so incredibly kind and generous, and we certainly appreciate the great hospitality there in Plano, Texas. Man, that town is big. I just don't know how they do it. I was hoping to see our good buddy Robert Jeffers down at First Baptist Dallas. They're in downtown, so it was a bit too far to get out. Anyway, enough of that. The University of South Carolina, an instructor there giving assignments to students. And their assignment is to create a woke identity map so students can check their privilege based on race, gender, and sexual orientation. This is nuts. Now, it was my understanding that the president signed an executive order that put a stop to all of this nonsense. Am I wrong here? Did I miss something? Because that's what the executive order took care of. So why are they still teaching this diversity, equity, and inclusion garbage over at the University of South Carolina? What's going on over there? So anyway, we're going to reach out to the Attorney General's office this afternoon after the show to find out whether or not they're aware of what's happening at the University of South Carolina and what they're going to do about it, because this kind of nonsense has to stop. And let me say, we have got to start delivering on these threats to defund these schools. And if we don't, they're never going to change, right? The reason why a lot of these schools are going back to all of this stuff is they know that people really aren't being punished. So if there is no consequence for their actions, they're just going to keep doing this. A lot of the schools are now renaming their DEI programs. So we've got to, all Trump needs to do here is, and we can, you know what, let's just use the University of South Carolina as an example here. University of South Carolina, you are completely defunded for an entire year. That's your punishment. Not only are you going to remove the class and the DEI stuff, you're going to be punished for an entire year, no federal funding at all, period. That's it. And if they refuse to do that, then you completely defund them. You say, Todd, what if they go belly up? Well, they go belly up. You can always go to Clemson. That's all. All right, got to scoot out of here tonight, 5 o'clock Eastern. We have got a great show lined up for you on Newsmax 2. Hope you tune into that. And we will be back tomorrow on the radio. In the meantime, head over to ToddStearns.com. We have some brand new stories, an update to that situation out at UC Berkeley. You'll want to read that as well. Get out there and have a great one. Happy Veterans Day, America.
From director Sean McNamara comes Soul on Fire, based on a true story.
They said you had no chance, but here you are.
Starring Joel Courtney, John Corbett, Stephanie Shostak,